Hello, everybody. I'm Elwirfy, and today I just wanted to talk. I just a regular discussion. So I just watched the presidential debate, and I know at the time of recording this, it says it's still going on, but I think news outlets are just repeating it over and over. But I don't know. That debate was the most disappointing thing I've seen in a long time. And listen, I don't like talking about politics. Politics is the one thing that I normally just do not talk about on here, mainly because I don't want my channel to be about that. And this is not a politics channel. But I happened to watch it live. I watched it on CNN as soon as they broadcasted it. The questions were fine. I think they were strong against both people, and I think both people failed miserably at answering those questions. Trump kept dodging questions, whereas Biden couldn't find the right words to speak about what he wanted to answer. Like, both of them seem horribly incompetent, right? And I know everyone's like, oh, you need to defend this, or you need to attack this. But listen, I'm trying to be as nonpartisan as possible here to just give my honest, objective opinion. Watching that hurt. The leader of the free world should be someone who I would think should be able to represent America in the best possible way, and I don't think either candidate can do that right now. And initially I wasn't even going to make this video, but I watched the section where they were talking about what's going on with Russia, and they had stupid bickering match back and forth. Like, I don't care. At this point, I don't even know if I care who's in charge. I just want someone who will be able to be a strong leader, who will be able to appropriately handle this political climate that's going on now. One thing that they talked about in the debate, which got me concerned, at least, which is why I think we might be fucked, is that they kept talking about this idea that Putin would essentially make sure that he wouldn't stop until he controls all of Ukraine. And maybe he's trying to rebuild the Soviet Union. I'm not too sure. But it's like, geez, this is the time we're living in now, where even though, regardless of, again, what side of the aisle you're on, I would think that's the best interest of the American people to keep Russia from controlling Ukraine. I think that's just objectively for us in the democratic world to, when we look at that and we see the war that's going on, I would think it would be objectively good for us to put a stop to it. Stop to the war. And neither candidate seems to have a good idea. Like Biden, he's just throwing a bunch of money and guns into the problem, but we're not deploying troops. So I don't think that's a good solution. Then again, I know we don't want a war, right? I get it. But like, maybe we could hire some like mercenaries. And I know some Americans have gone in and stuff, and I'm not worried about that. My point is, we are not helping enough, but at the same time, I think that our allies are also not helping enough. And it's like, and Trump seemingly thinks he can talk his way out and into ending the war. I don't think that's possible either. I think Putin's smart enough to know that he's not going to stop his mission. So I just don't see any scenario right now where either of these leaders are going to do an effective job of preventing the entire destruction of Ukraine. And that sucks. I mean, like, and that, to me, that made me think, okay, that's just foreign policy. At least me as an American citizen, I can at least vote for someone who I think will be good for my economic interests. But nobody talked about people like me at all. They did not discuss what they're going to do to help people like me who are struggling. Me and my wife are both working really hard, and there's nothing about giving, a reduced tax if you're like under a certain amount. Biden said he wouldn't increase taxes, but I'd actually prefer a reduction in taxes, I think. That'd be helpful. And Trump says he's going to give corporate tax breaks. I don't think that'll work either, because trickle down economics, it doesn't work. Okay. This was proved during the Bush era. We don't need it. It doesn't work. I don't know. I'm just really concerned about the future, guys. Like, I so badly want to make a good life for me and my wife. That's part of the reason why I even do this damn YouTube channel, to be frank, because I want to make sure that eventually, I don't even know in this economy if I can even do it anymore, but I'd like to be a dad at some point. I'd like to have kids and, be able to pass down what I know and, keep my family going and stuff and all that. And my wife wants kids too. It's not like there's a difference of opinion here. We both want kids, but we're so economically drained. It's really hard to justify right now. We're barely making it. Minimum wage hasn't gone up in a long time. Inflation has been hit hard, and both parties agree the inflation sucks. All right, they seemingly continue to bicker over and over about whose fault it is, about who's doing the inflation. I don't really care under whose administration the inflation went up under, whether it's Biden or Trump. I think it was both actually, but I'm not. I don't know the facts about that. But either way, inflation's gone up, and we aren't fixing it. No matter how you want to spin it, the people are the ones being hurt at the end of the day, as far as I can tell. And with the debate, there were a lot of times where you see Trump always dodging the questions. He directly wasn't able to say that he would accept the results of the election. It makes me really concerned about another January 6th happening. And I don't want to see that. I don't want a civil war. I don't want my neighbors coming to my house and killing me because they think I believe something different than them. I don't even know my neighbors, I don't want to be starting anything. And at the same time, I don't want Sleepy Joe over here who can't keep track of what's going on. Both of these guys are going to be old as hell. In the debate, they said Trump, if he wins after 4 years, he'll be 82, and if Biden wins at the end of his term, he'll be 86. Where's the young people? Where is Gen X? Where are the people where are my parents' generation stepping up and doing something about it? Why are both parties, the Republican and Democrat, not putting up younger candidates who would have a fresher take, and I would argue probably a more bipartisan take, I bet, than these boomer people who are at this point just uninterested in cooperation. Come on. There was no sense of professionalism in that debate, period, from both sides. Again, I'm not trying to play favorites here, but I think this might have been the worst debate I've ever seen. It makes me really concerned about the future of Joe being able to continue if he wins. I'm also concerned that if Trump wins, he'll just focus on keep giving breaks to the corporations, because that's what he mentioned in the debate. And I'm worried that he's not actually going to help the middle class people, although I don't even think I'm middle class anymore. I think I'm lower class at this point because I don't even make enough for my standard, live. You can go on a website and you can see how much medium income do you need in order to survive in your area? And I make underneath that, me and my wife together combined, it's just not working anymore. And I remember growing up, I always used to think that, because I was always so inspired by my parents, right? I always thought, oh, wow, it's really cool that, they got together, they got a house, they had, me and my sister, and, and they did their best to make sure that I grew up as a good skeptical thinker who tried to be objective about things. And I think I've reflected their teachings pretty well, and I'm happy with how I turned out, and I'm not going to speak for anyone else, of course, but I really did feel before I moved out and stuff, I felt like I would be able to achieve what my parents were going to do. And at this point, I'm not sure that that's possible. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, just look at these guys, right? They both are so... They both have gray hair. Why are we letting the leader of the free world be someone who, sure, maybe they have experience in their own life experience way, but I want and I understand too, Joe Biden, he's a career politician. Trump, he has some political experience. Actually, I don't know how much experience he has. He mostly has experience being rich, which is, I guess, a qualification for being president. If I were to go, right, and I would say, hey, I want to run for president, and I want to blah, 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 do whatever issues I think will be best for helping poor people, because that's all I care about, right? All I care about is helping poor people at this point. I don't give a shit about all these different policies or all these small things. Clearly, the country's falling apart. Clearly, both sides agree that we need to do something. I don't know what it is. We need to do something. But we're in horrible amount of debt, and wages are stagnant, and people are expected to do more work for less pay. And maybe it's because of my YouTube recommendations too, but I have constantly been bombarded, more so than I normally would be, with things talking about how many people are struggling, and it sucks, I don't know. I really don't want to make negative videos like this, but it's so hard to stay positive and make positive content for you guys when I know that in the background, as soon as I shut this camera off, I'm going to go back to working nonstop, and working for money that I don't get to keep, that all goes to bills. I have no savings. Like if like we had an earthquake and like a wall broke or something, I couldn't fix it. I'd have to go, beg my parents for their money and see if they could even afford to help, because they're working hard just to afford their house. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I just don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm just incredibly scared for the future. Like I'm really terrified. And I watched this presidential debate in the hopes that at the very least, one of these two would be able to pull together something competent. Sorry, I can't speak. I'm just upset. That would make me feel like either of them care about people like me. And I don't think they do. I really don't think either of them do at this point, for different reasons, obviously. But it's like, what happened? Like, Gen X, why aren't you guys out here being the candidates? Really? I mean, I say Gen X because my parents are Gen X, but like, if Gen X, look, if you don't want to do it, start putting millennials up on the stand. What are we doing? Why are we letting these old people who have antiquated ways of thinking, who clearly have, kind of, in my opinion, behind the times kind of ways of looking at things, and they don't understand that they're crippling the future of America? I think that in the next 4 years, I honestly don't know what the economy is going to do. There's some scenarios where we reduce foreign spending maybe, and maybe that could be put into helping with the national debt, but we keep spending all our money on the military, so then all the money we would save would just kind of go back into our industrial complex. I know we're not investing in small businesses, that's for sure. I know we aren't giving like tax reductions for lower class. Like, neither candidate has mentioned anything about lowering taxes for like the poor people. They've only said they're not going to raise taxes, right? Unless I misheard something. You can correct me. I make mistakes all the time. But like what the heck, guys? And especially because I sit here and you know me. I like being transparent. I don't like lying to you guys. Like, I have enjoyed covering like the drama that's been going on the internet. There's like all kinds of horrible people, right? But damn it, none of that shit matters. Like, none of it, And like, I play video games because it's a good escapism from the real world, right? It allows me to feel like I can be somewhere else and not have to deal with my life. But at the end of the day, like, what are we doing? I don't know. I've spent so long trying to make videos to entertain people, to try and make this into a career, and it just hasn't been happening. It just hasn't, and it's terrifying. I mean, are we monetized? Sure. Are we slowly getting success? I suppose. But like, the only success I've found so far is calling out BS on the internet. Like, doing what I enjoy is not something people come to this channel to see, which is fine. I get it. I bet most of you guys watching right now have never even seen my channel before, and that's fine. You're going to watch this video and then you're going to write a comment. You're just going to leave. It's okay. But like, what are we doing here on the platform in general? Like, there's like real issues going on. I understand there's political channels, there's people who are giving partisan takes, and they're like, oh, the Republicans are bad, oh, the Democrats are bad, and there's no common ground. It's like, well, then we need to get some common ground here. Maybe we start by electing people who aren't old as hell, people who aren't so ingrained and like they don't want to budge. Neither of them look interested to compromise. I do not think they even uttered the word compromise in this debate from either of the candidates. I think the interviewers said that, both people agree that, like the drug epidemic's like an issue or whatever. And that is a bipartisan thing. Obviously, the opioid epidemic's a serious issue. And we need to provide better support for people who are struggling with addiction and perhaps put more funding into support programs. And, there's a lot of choices. Again, I'm not in charge of this shit right now. I don't know all the background stuff of how that all works. I just know what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is that people are suffering. And, like, it seems that we're working towards nothing. And let people, like, you guys, I don't know if anyone in my generation, I'm 26. I was born in 1997. I don't know if and my birthday's in October. I don't know if any of you guys are feeling like this, but I feel like we're going to get skipped over. I feel like our generation, one, we're not having as many kids. And I feel like the kids are being born into a society right now where an economic downturn is going to happen. I don't know when we're going to have a market crash. I don't know when we'll, God, I don't want to say it, but I almost think we're going to have another Great Depression. Some people have said we're already in a recession already, which I'm skeptical of because I don't think we're quite there yet because the news hasn't really been talking about us being in a recession. And I think it'd be a really big deal if we were. I don't know. There's just so much wrong going on. And I mean, these guys, they're not it for me. Where are the Gen X candidates? Why aren't they stepping forward? Why can't we get someone 40 to 50-year-old range, to come in and take over? Or hell, the minimum age is 35. Let's get a 35-year-old in here to come start running, right? Like, I can't even run for president yet, but and I don't think I ever will, because that's the other tough part about politics is that you can't run for president unless you're rich. Like, it's so horrible that money is dictating our lives to a point that we cannot control it. We can't control it. There's nothing we can do. I don't know. It's just ridiculous, and I'm frankly just sick of it. And I don't know if I can even keep following politics. Like, I wasn't even planning on making this video, but I'm just frustrated, like, as a whole, with everything on both sides, and I don't know what we're supposed to do. Like, personally, and I know people will disagree because it's the internet, but I think at this point we really do probably need a universal basic income. And I know people are worried about, like, oh, what about the freeloaders? It's like, you know what? Those people will be already freeloading off government programs. At the very least, we could give the universal basic income to help the people who are actually needing it and will probably still want to work. I'm not saying universal income has to be enough to make it so you don't have to work. I'm just saying we should have a means of looking at, and here's the way I personally think it would work for universal basic income. This is the one idea I have, is that what if we used the government, I don't know what government agency assesses the basic standard of living income needed for like a family of four, right? Because that's the American dream standard, right? So let's say we wanted to get families into a 2-bed, 1-bath house, and what we would need to figure out what is an average mortgage, and then the universal income would match whatever each particular area's medium income is, and then that's what you get paid. So that way all states get paid different amounts based on where they are. So if you're in like a richer area, you get paid a higher basic income to maintain your space, but if you leave out of that area, then your universal basic income would be reduced, so that way it balances out. And I know there's the issue of like, oh, well, won't everyone move to the big cities there's still limited space, there's still other limiting factors. I'm just saying it'd be really good if we could have something to compensate for standard of living. Like, I personally think that shelter is a basic human right. I think we should all have the right to be in a structure of some sort. That way we're not out in the cold, suffering and dying in the wild. Like, and this is getting off topic, but like, I don't care. It's my video. Like, we're humans. We have evolved to be intelligent creatures who have a greater understanding and respect for the world than most animals really comprehend. Most animals, they're just living in it, right? And we as a species have elevated ourselves to a point where we admittedly take things for granted, but also, like, part of the human experience, in my opinion, is being able to just enjoy your life. Like, the fact that we are able to, as people, comprehend and think about our own existence is incredible, absolutely incredible. And not everyone can enjoy that because a lot of people are in the survival instinct mode where they're trying their best just to keep things afloat or pull themselves out of poverty, whatever it is, And it's messed up, And I think that's why I think shelter is in my opinion, a human right. And I think the universal basic income should be used to offset the cost of housing. Like based on your standard of living, like, what do you need to make? And I think that would be huge. And sure, there might be people who are like, well, what if people want to own a bunch of houses? And I'm not saying I know how it would be implemented. I'm not saying I know where I'd get the money from. But I know that what I'm watching as an honestly and mostly uninformed citizen is I'm watching rich people get richer, poor people get poorer, and the destruction of the middle class as a whole. And I think both parties, whatever aisle you fall on, I think both people would agree that that's what's happening. And social media wants us to view everyone as being better than us. And I certainly do not try and portray myself in that way at all. I'm doing terribly compared to most people, I'm sure. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe for all I know, because again, it's hard to know with social media, right? But for all I know, maybe I'm actually doing better than the average American experience. I have no clue. I just know that I'm really unsure about the future, and I'm just terrified. I'll just be honest, I'm just terrified. So I don't know which political candidate is better at this point. Neither of them seem to care about me. So I'm not sure I care about them. You can let me know what you guys think, I guess. All your views really do help. I don't need you to buy memberships or buy the merch that is inexplicably overpriced, and I agree. I need to be able to reduce that, but right now I'm just unable to. I don't have the tools to reduce it, like just the way it works. I don't know. I think I still have a Patreon. I don't know. If you want to help, you can, but that's not an expectation or like a requirement. Just watching my videos means the world to me. Honestly, at this point, I don't even think I care if you subscribe. Like, just watch the videos. That's like the most important thing to me, is knowing that you guys are entertained and you guys are enjoying yourselves. That's like the one shred of happiness I get most of the time when I'm doing stuff on my own. Obviously, I enjoy being with my family, being with my wife. You know, there's other things in my life that make me happy, but like the thing that's for me that like I do on my own personal time that makes me happy is knowing that I'm making other people happy when they see my videos. And hopefully I haven't said anything too controversial. Sorry, I kind of got into a bit of a phase, but thank you all for watching. It really does mean a lot that you're still here, and God, who knows? This video is probably going to get buried and nobody's going to watch it, but hey, if you made it to the end, good for you. I'm Elwirfy, and I will definitely be seeing you guys next time. Take care, everyone. Seriously.